And she seemed a bit moody with me.
So this is actually my old car. Well, here's me thinking it's going to be a quick take the sleeve off, put the new one on. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Kirby, and if you don't know, I'm a mobile mechanic, used car dealer. This is one we've just got out the door now. Dabble in everything, a couple of little projects. And this morning, or it's now this afternoon anyway, we went to go pick up my recovery truck. So a little story with this. At the time, so me and my business partner Nathan, he had a mate and he was out of work. And he was looking for something to do. We had just bought this truck. We was planning to either, sell it on because we got it cheap, or try and make some money from recoveries out of it. But then we offered the truck to Nathan's mate. Basically, we was going to rent it to him for £100 a day, or every time he uses it, up until the value of what we paid for the truck. After that, we was going to sort of do business and take 10% of the profits, and that was a deal everybody was happy with. But at some point he decided that was no longer good enough. I think he started earning a bit of money and he could see the potential of a business growing. Now these trucks can only take a certain amount of weight, and he was getting cars that were too heavy for this flatbed, so he decided he wanted a trailer. Now, he could have got a trailer and just hitched it up to this, that wouldn't have been a problem. But he decided to buy my mate's car and a Discovery and decided to get a trailer. And now he then took this off of the road, took it off the insurance and wasn't going to use it. It was just sitting there in his front drive. Didn't get pulled over by the DVSA because he didn't have a tacho with his newfound setup. He had to get a tacho installed, and that was going to be a couple of grand. And then at that point is when alarm bells started ringing, because he said he wanted to sell this truck. Now this isn't his truck to sell. We agreed, it's all in text, that we was going to rent it to him. And at some point he's moved the goalposts. Basically told us to sod off and it's not our truck. And obviously we had a problem with this. And to cut a long story short, we was going to take him to court. We couldn't agree on what should be done with the truck. In the end, we've sort of put all the court proceedings through, and we thought we'd give it one last try to make him an offer. So we've given him some money back that he has spent out on the truck. Bear in mind, we've spent money on the truck too. So if we sold it to him, why would we be paying for maintenance on the vehicle? Yes, he's paid some maintenance on the vehicle too, but that's what happens when you run a business. You've got outgoings. Now, the most annoying thing about all of this is we've tried to help somebody out, helped someone start a business, and there's been no appreciation or anything like that. We bought the truck for $2,000. He paid $2,000 back in £100 installments. Why in the world would we buy a truck and then pay out £2,000 and then over the course of, 4, 5, 6 months, accept £100 every time he used it? It doesn't make any business sense. Yes, we're trying to help a friend out, but we're in the game of making money and making a living for ourselves. I could understand if he paid $3,000 or $4,000 back, then I'd understand that. But we had an agreement, and as far as we're concerned, he went back on that. So like I said, we come to an agreement before it went to court. We've ended up shelling out some money to him. I feel we probably would have won this case, but it's a long drawn out process. It's an expensive process. We've got the truck back now, and we're going to put it to work. We're going to try and make some money off of it. So hit me up if you want any curbside recoveries. Let me know. And like I said, this Mini is sold. The only thing that was an issue was getting the bonnet open. So the catch was a little bit sticky, but not much. And the cable inside had just come away from its holder, so I pop that back in and then it opens no problem at all. That's one car sorted. I've got this Astra in just for some rear brakes, so we've done the pads and discs on there. We've got this 3 Series back, so this has just come in for some inlet manifold seals. They are quite brittle and dirty, as you can see, so that was losing boost. We've got this waste removal company that takes all our waste. They got this van dropped off the other night. I believe we've got some leaking injector seals, so they need changing. Already done the fuel filter because it wasn't starting, and we just put a fuel filter on it because it hadn't been changed for quite a long time. So that's done. Just need to get some injector seals for this. And what else am I doing today? Right, next on the list is this Freelander. We sold this not too long ago. I mean, just have a look at it. For the age and mileage, it's very, very clean. Bodywork's good. All straight down both sides. But one problem the customers had with it is, well, first of all, the steering lock would stay on, which is this little unit down here, just underneath the steering column. Now, to get it off, you can give it a good whack and that'll temporarily fix it. So what we did, we saw online, you can get these emulators. So yeah, basically you just plug in this. Once the lock is off, you plug this emulator in, and yeah, you shouldn't have to worry about the steering lock or anything like that now. Now the customer, he said that he just went out in it one day and then it wouldn't start, but I've not had it not start on me yet. So that goes in there, and if you press that start button, nothing comes up. Like you'd expect. You press and hold that button, everything comes to life. Is this going to be the first time it's not going to start? Yeah, we've got no engine light coming on there. Okie dokie. Well, that proves me wrong, doesn't it? Live on camera, I've got it as well. I'm quite pleased about that. Right, so because I've got that coming up, I'm just going to get the top-on Phoenix Light 2 on the case. So we've got a couple of faults there, nothing to do with... We've got steering column lock, which we know, remote control switch, and then we've got lost communication with C control module, instrument cluster. But, oh, let me put the key back in. Let's try locking it. And then unlocking it, because we do have the immobiliser light flashing, which I've just clocked. That should go off. I've been here a little while now, just having a mess around with things. I've got the new steering lock on there, just plugged in. Now I've been on here, I've checked to see there's 2 keys on here. I've tried coding the key. I've also obviously tried coding the steering lock. When I've tried, I get this message: store steering column lock key, which when I go to say OK, it says please wait, and then it fails. Now, I'm not sure if this is another faulty steering lock, or I'm not too sure, to be honest. It's the top-down's got the capability to do it, but it's just not having it. And when I scan the car again, even though I've unplugged it, still comes up with a steering column lock fault. You can clear this fault. I turn it off, I try and start it, and nada. Well, this one's beating me for the day. There's a Land Rover specialist down the road, but I think he's on holiday at the minute, so when he's back I might tap him up for some ideas, because unless any of you guys know, please let me know. Good morning everyone, it's Tuesday and I'm back at, or I was back at the Citroen C3 I did a couple of weeks ago for a oil filter and oil cooler housing seals. I'd done that job. A few days later she rang me, said something went pop and it just lost power. So I went back round there. I'd left a Jubilee clip just not tightened all the way. It wasn't off. It wasn't exactly loose, but it wasn't tight. Tightened that up, drove it up hills where she said it struggled. Drove up the hill, no problem, all was good. And then on the weekend I get another phone call which I didn't answer because it was Sunday, and she just gave me a text saying, "Hi Aaron, tried to drive a few miles, wouldn't go over 50 and there's an engine light." So I've just been back, checked it all over, couldn't find any boost hoses loose or Jubilee clips loose. So I smoke tested it and it was bellowing smoke out of the oil filler cap. I thought, oh, that's weird, must be the seal gone on it. But someone must have previously taken that cap off and not put it back on quite properly. Put that back on it, test drove it, 70 miles an hour, no problem. So done that this morning. Done some returns this morning to old Euro car parts. Not faulty parts, just parts I've not used. And I've got a set of brakes potentially to go have a look at. He said they're grinding. I did have another job to do, but the exhaust sleeve wasn't here. So I'm doing that Thursday morning. She seemed a bit moody with me. It's not my fault they didn't have it in stock, but it is what it is. So yeah, and that's it. I might go up the unit again, get some bits done there because there's a few bits and bobs to do there. So yeah, that's it for the morning. Right, back up the unit and it's all going on here. Got this Citroen relay in for some new injector seals. So they've literally just arrived. Bosh. They're already out. Well, that one's seized in, so that one's not coming out for now. But cylinder 3 was the issue. We've got this 335D in. This is for some inlet manifold seals. But we also found a split vacuum hose on this one. So I need a new one of those. And then this Sales Mini, this one, that was up for sale and it's actually been sold. They've left a deposit, the one with the bonnet. Went to do the brakes and one of the wheel bolts were just all chewed up. Look at that. So that's not too great. So I've got myself a new hub. Old one's already off. We'll put a new brake wear sensor on there in a second. Try to clean up best as possible so it's all flat. Give it a bit of a file and a wire brush. Yeah, and then this one's ready to go out the workshop. Right, just before I get that new wheel bearing and hub in, just going to put a bit of ceramic grease all around here. So if it ever has to come out again, we ain't going to have any issues. I'm just going to put some on here. This one actually came out really easy. Lovely old job. Right, new one. Just got to line that up. The drive shaft. All new bolts. So I'll get a couple of those in. There we go. And I'll just button the rest up. That's it, all done. Get the wheel on, get the seals on this. Go home. Right, the rubber O-rings in there have turned up, so they've gone in. And then I'm just about to put the injectors in. That's that all back together. I'm just going to leave these injectors unplugged just to prime it all up. And also to see if any fuels come out whilst that was cranking. Looks good. Let's plug them back in. Right, let's go. So it starts, still running on 3 cylinders. I advised the customer it may need an injector, but we had to fix that leaking seal first. And I didn't initially look at this van, but when somebody else looked at it, he said the OBD. I always say that, ODB. It's not old dirty bastard. The OBD port wasn't powering up, which it isn't, so I'm just going to go have a look at the fuses first and see. Hopefully it's just a fuse. Got the fuse box open here, and apparently it's fuse number 39. So just going to have a quick visual inspection. Well, that looks good. You can't see that, but I've got the wrong one. This one is 39. But this one is also good. So that can go back in. Time to bust out the multimeter. Lovely. Right, I've stopped that for a minute. I'm just going to go old school and unplug each injector and see if the noise changes. So number 1, I unplugged it. Bit of a change, but not loads. Unplugged number 2, no change at all. Unplugged number 3, it's just completely died. So I'm going to try number 4. That's running on 2 cylinders. Right, so I've just gone over it one more time just to make sure. Number 1, pulled it out, slight tone difference. Number 2, no change whatsoever. Number 3, engine dies. Number 4, slight change. Now, this fuel filter hadn't been changed for a very, very long time. And the initial fault was it cut out. So, put a fuel filter on it, started up, no problem. But has whatever was in that dirty fuel damaged at least one injector, I would say so. I've checked the fuses, they're all okay. There was one blown for a cigarette lighter, but weirdly I'm getting just 2 or 3 volts, or sometimes 6 volts at measuring, so it's not battery voltage. Yeah, and the ODB port isn't working, so even if I was to replace those injectors, I can't code them. So, but for now, that one's done, or finished for the day. We'll have to have a look at that another time, I think. Good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, and it's a bit of a misty one. Bloody cold this morning, but yeah, we've got a few bits and pieces. First one, a bit of diag, so we'll see you there. So this is actually my old car. Totally forgot I was coming around to my old car. So we've got a bit of exhaust coming from the exhaust, bit of smoke coming from the exhaust, and the tailpipe's quite sooty, but we've got no loss of coolant. It wasn't too bad when I drove it, and we've got a bit of a rattle, which I think is part of the exhaust. So I'm just going to jack that up and have a look. Oh, that was good. Right, there's your rattle. Let's get this up a bit higher and just fix that a bit. Right, yeah, so fix that rattle. It probably wasn't the best repair, just put some larger washers holding it up. But the smoking issue, so like I said, I checked the oil, checked the coolant. He said he wasn't going through any coolant, but he did say, he did come out and go, oh actually he's been topping up the oil every, you know, 5 or 6 weeks, a little bit of oil here and there. So yeah, it's got really high mileage on that one, and and there's no oil underneath, it's bone dry. So it's only got to be going through the engine, hasn't it? So that car I actually bought off of a customer, drove it round for a few months, and then this customer here, I've just driven past his old house actually, he called me out. He had a hole in his engine block on his Freelander, and I said, oh, I might be interested in selling my Audi. Because I only need a stopgap for a few months. This was 2 years ago, and it's still been going strong for 2 years. It's just a good car, he didn't want to get rid of it. But I said to him, with that oil burning through, you know, it won't be long before it's totally knackered, just keep an eye on it. Again, he said, as long as it gets me through for a few months, he'll be happy. And I've got a Mercedes C-Class for sale at the minute that I might try and flog him. He might be interested in that. So yeah, that's a nice easy one. We've got to go back to a Honda CR-V that I did the EGR pipe on a couple of weeks ago. He said the DPF light is back on. So we've got the launch cleaner, my get gun. Gonna fill half of this up. Yeah, that goes in. And then half water. Right, so we've got the compressor out, attached to our gun, and I found the right hose to go down to before the DPF. So all we've got to do, that's a bit leaky this. For bursts, and we're just going to let that sit in the DPF a little bit. Don't want to go too mad, don't want because this foams up, so don't want it all coming back up into the turbo and into the inlet manifold, exhaust manifold, through the exhaust manifold back into the engine. So we're just going to let that do its thing for a bit. Right, once that's finished, we'll just pop this hose back on the other side of the sensor. And at this point, I've lost some footage. So basically, after this, I checked the DPF pressure readings and it was down at 0, suggesting a faulty DPF. And then I went to a Citroen Berlingo for a brake noise and ABS warning light. Right, good morning everyone. It is Thursday. Just like that. I think where I left it yesterday, it was having a look at that Citroen Berlingo. Front pads and discs were worn, and he also had the ABS sensor warning. I jacked the front of the car up. The sensor was reading, it was picking up a signal. I spun the wheel and I put a graph on it, and the graph didn't drop out at any stage. So to me, the sensor and the bearing should be okay, but he said it only happens sometimes at high speeds. So I said, look, we can try a sensor if you want, nice and easy, hopefully, fingers crossed. Yeah, so we're gonna do that today. Do the exhaust sleeve today that we didn't do the other day, and then we've got another one of my cars, customers' cars, to go have a look at. Got an oil leak, bonnet release won't work, handbrake's a bit high, something like that, and something else as well. And yesterday, after that ABS
job on the Citroen Berlingo, I just went up the unit and just, it wasn't really worth filming. There was just little bits here and there, just, you know, to clear up. You know, just there's a lot of little jobs needed just finishing up, or, you know, whatever. So yeah, that's all I did yesterday. So yeah, we'll see you at the first one.
So this is the clamp that I didn't have before. So just going to whiz this off. Need a little hammer for that. Hit this old one off. Well, here's me thinking it's going to be a quick take the sleeve off, put the new one on, but this sleeve is actually spot welded to the back box, so just gonna have to grind it off. Come on. There we go. Safety first. Right, here we go. Next job. Issue number one. Got a bit of an oil leak here. And we've got, I believe it's going to be this flexi joint that's blowing. So I just need to start the engine to confirm that. We've also got the bonnet not working, but you can hear it moving down at the latch, so I think the latch is seized and stretched that cable. Handbrake is super high as well, so shoes are probably gonna have to be, I'm gonna check the shoes out, maybe adjust those. And exhaust, let's just double check that. Most boy racers would like that. So I'm just using the lever bar up against the accelerator because it wasn't quite obvious where this leak is coming from. I've got myself an axle stand now. Well, I can't exactly figure out where it's coming from, so I've got the smoke machine on there. And hopefully we'll see some smoke. Oh yeah, but some back there. The back box is just split. I didn't look this side. There we go, just needs a new back box. You can see I've just been running the car for a few minutes here, and we've got an oil leak dripping down quite heavy already. But you can see where this sump has just been hit on the bottom. I don't know if you can see the dent and all the rust. I had come back here a little while back because the actual sump was porous and you could just see oil coming out of the sump. No particular hole, but it's just leaking up at this top corner, so I think it's been bashed one too many times, possibly getting up on this curb. So. Right, just did front pads and discs and ABS sensor on that Berlingo from yesterday. I got him to come to my house because where his job is, it's just not practical to do the work on that street. So yeah, and now I don't want to leave to go and do my next job. I could just quite easily stay at home, but I've got to go out. It's just a service. And finally it's Friday. Got my tea ready, got this service on this Ford Focus. This is a mate's car, so it doesn't do that much mileage every year. Just give it an oil change, have a look over it. And at some point this car has been used as a rally car. Just look at all the mud that's built up here. It even goes back as far as the exhaust over there. It's everywhere. But we're just going to do an oil change on it, so I'm not really going to show you. A couple of little clips. And we've got a service on his van as well whilst I'm here. Right, so didn't film the Transit Custom because it's pretty much exactly the same as the Focus. 13mm sump plug, oil filter at the front, takes double the oil, and yeah, again, it's done similar miles, about 30,000 miles. So yeah, just had a quick spot of lunch, bit of Greg's, stopped at a service station as usual. Yeah, on to my next one, 435D. You guys have seen, long-term subscribers have seen it on the channel before, so it's got an issue with the downpipe or part of the exhaust rattle. So I'm going to go have a look at that and then head up the unit because I've got a load of stuff up there that needs sorting out. Right, I went to go have a look at the 4 Series and he thought it was the downpipe, but it was actually a rubber on the back of the exhaust. It was like a triangular one with a hole at the top and 2 at the bottom. The hole at the top had broken, so I just put it back on its bracket and put a Jubilee clip around it, just to hold it up for now. So yeah, that'll be fine. Took the van for a little wash, gave the old girl some treatment, and I'm just up the unit now. So got a few bits to finish off here, and then that'll be it for the weekend.
Hello.
Lodgy Carl.
Right, I did say that was going to be it for the weekend, but yeah, I messed around with a few bits up the unit, nothing really too interesting to see there. And then I've come out today to do a service, a full service on a Vauxhall Vivaro, newish shape one. Same as the Peugeot Experts. Faffed around with the fuel filter for far too long. Faffed around with the pollen filters for too long. Odd designs, but anyway, I've done that, and then I was going to do a oil change on a 1 Series, but she wasn't going to be home in time, so I've come home, and that is it for the weekend. So I hope you've all enjoyed what you've seen for the week and what I get up to. If you're not already subscribed, please think about hitting that button down the bottom. I'm trying to double my subscriber count in the next 6 months, so yeah, jump along for the journey, and we'll see you on the next one.